Sequel number 135 of the Church of Uganda at 150 years, a celebration. In this particular sequel, Apollo Kaggwa's mother, most fond, welcome. Immediately after the death of Apollo Kaggwa in Nairobi, a military ambulance van, and when I say military, I mean the King African Rifles. Their van parked outside the clinic. Michael Kawalia was told that it was to take the body of his father for treatment at a bigger hospital. And the clinic offered to pay for both the ambulance and the body treatment. The governor of the Kenya colony, Edward William Mackley Grigg, cabled his counterpart in Uganda, Governor William Goers, who had returned, to prepare the news which they were waiting for at Entebbe. But there was a problem. These medically done assassinations left the body with a reaction, a chemical reaction of the body which would show everybody, especially the medical ones, of what would have happened. And so they agreed to dispose of Apollo Kaggwa's body with great speed before the body reacted. Therefore, on arrival at the big hospital, Michael Kawalia was met with the officers of the King African Rifles, waiting with the Union Jack flag of Great Britain. They told him that the British government had taken over the body until it would be delivered to his family in Mengo. Can you imagine? But they asked him to stick with them and make all the important telephone calls to Mengo at the military, at the cost of the military, King African Rifles. Michael Kawalia confessed that he felt relieved, but at the same time remained surprised at the speed at which the Kenyan authorities had known about the death of his father and their immediate reaction without him informing them. Now, after the body treatment, it was transferred immediately from the hospital to the Nairobi train station. That very night, at 11 p.m., the casket covered with a Union Jack flag left Nairobi by train under armed escort for Kisumu. The train delayed as one of the Rift Valley underground tunnels had caved in at one of its ends. Therefore, the Clement Hill steamer ship left Kisumu on Tuesday, the 22nd February for Luzira Port without the dead body. That called for a change of plan, and a military lorry was dispatched from the King African Rifle garrison of Jinja for Kisumu. It arrived in Kisumu late in the evening, and the dead body was transferred onto it. Drivers were changed, and it was driven all the way to Buganda Kingdom, escorted by the King's African Rifles officers, with Michael Kawalia with them. At exactly 3:30 p.m. on Wednesday, the 23rd of February, 1927, the body of Apollo Kaggwa arrived at his Mengo private residence. The 30 bedrooms Basima Bakyagaya Villa at Kabakanjagala Road, which today is currently housing the City Parents Primary School. The new Katikiro Chisosonkole had relayed the message from Governor William Gowers for a very quick burial to the bereaved family. But the family of Apollo Kaggwa had been told of the details in Nairobi, and so they were already accusing the governor of assassinating their father, and therefore the dead body arrival was not going to be treated with speed as directed by the protectorate government. As a matter of fact, the protectorate government had ordered that on arrival it be moved immediately for a funeral service at Namirembe that very hour. But Sepiria Roscoe Kaddomukasa told the aide-de-camp of the governor that Muzungu, who disembarked from the ship and Apollo Kaggwa entered, he told that Muzungu, Sir Richard Ronald Shifuna, to his face, that his brother Michael Kawalia had traveled the whole day and was too tired for a state funeral service that very hour on arrival. However, Shifuna, who was in his full military uniform, simply ignored him, signaled his officers to bring out the dead body from the Basima after it stayed inside for only 5 minutes. When the officers entered into the Basima, Sepiria Kaddomukasa asked his brothers to join him to block the entrance of the house, and so Blasio Mwere, Eliasafu Kawesa Bijumbuko, Ernest Serebe Kaggwa Sarongo, Alistari Koruyombya, Israel Apollo Kalibala, George William Mujabi, and Asanasio Chironde held each other hands, and the officers carrying the casket got very stuck. Now, Michael Kawalia pleaded with his brothers by suggesting that as a family they could boycott the funeral service and wait for the dead body to be returned to Basima. Shifuna was delighted with that suggestion, as the body was now allowed to move out of Basima and it was driven to Namirembe Cathedral, where some 5 priests who were not even ready for a momentous funeral service were forced to prepare for a simple memorial service starting at 4 p.m. The Mengo Palace sent a message to the cathedral to delay the service, as the Stand Kabaka suspended the custom of never seeing a dead body for 60 minutes to enable him look at the Apollo Kaggwa personally, to look at the Apollo Kaggwa body personally. The Kabaka arrived at Namirembe Cathedral. He paid his respects as the Katikiro Tefilo Sosonkole and Sechiroboha Mukasa looked on. Then the service commenced, and the Kabaka stayed on for the service. The diocesan archdeacon, Venerable Canon George Robert Blackridge, and Bishop Jameson Willis were not around, as the service found them unaware. So Reverend Canon Nasanairi Mudeka delivered the sermon, and of all the words he spoke, I've chosen these ones. Great men and heroes are always few in a village, and at Chwa's village was only one Sir Apollo Kaggwa, a patient, fearless, obedient, and courageous man, now in a coffin. End of quote. Now, after the Namirembe Cathedral quick service, the dead body was returned to Basima, where Dr. Albert Cook sat with the family members and prevailed on them to take the dead body away the following day and bury it. The family members accepted to take the body away, but flatly rejected the order to bury it, and instead announced that the burial would take place on Monday, the 28th of February 1927. So on Thursday, the 24th February 1927, the body, after spending a night at Basima, his Mengo residence, the body was driven to the upcountry ancestral grounds home at Manyangwa off Gayaza Road in Chadondo County. The British Protectorate government officers were so furious with the refusal of the family members to bury that Thursday at Manyangwa. The governor goers boycotted the burial. He also ordered the Bishop of Uganda, John Jameson Willis, to stay away as well. Now, on the 24th, which is that Thursday, the body of Apollo Kaggwa was taken to his Manyangwa graveyard site residence, and it spent there 4 nights in defiance of the British Protectorate government officers. And at the burial on Monday, the 28th February 1927, the governor, William Gowers, sent his aide-de-camp to represent him. Can you imagine? A whole governor sends his bodyguard, Sir Richard Ronald Schiffner, to represent him. As if that was not enough, the Bishop of Uganda, John Jameson Willis, chose to be away in what they said he was in Ankole. And in fact, some other argued that he was not even in the country. Anyway, he sent apologies. And his representative was the Venerable Canon George Robert Blackridge, the Archdeacon of Uganda. Now, close to 6,000 people attended the burial, where the fallen Apollo Kaggwa story was told again and again. Sepiria Roscoe Kadumukasa told the mourners that his father's full name was Apollo Kaggwa Kalibala Kinarwa Guremye Bikongolo. He also announced that his father left a will declaring 62 square miles of personal land acquired through the 1900 Buganda Agreement and an extra 32 square miles of personal land purchased separately. Lastly, he announced that his father had left 283,766 siringisi, which the will shared out, and out of which the Native Anglican Church was a beneficiary to the tune of siringisi 2,000. Among the speakers at the burial was one from the East African Standard, and he said, "Thus has passed into the shadow one of the greatest African statesmen that has ever lived. If the Baganda as a nation will only follow his example, they need never to fear for the future of their country." Brethren, Apollo Kaggwa was buried in 97 pieces of cotton, jola, 191 clothes, loti, and 19 backcloths, embugo. Now that he was buried, all we can say now is that may the good Lord bless us all.